All right, now that we learned about promises, async await, and fetch, let me give you a cool challenge. I want you guys to create an async function that takes in one argument, the user ID, and please use this link to fetch. I will put it here. Use. Okay, so the user gives you an ID like 1. Create your function passing in this number 1, and your result should look like this. It should be an array of objects, and in each object you have the post number, like, hey, this is his post number 1, and his content should be this body thing right here. Okay, if they put in user 2, you're only returning user 2's body content, okay, and the post count. All right, bonus. What we get back from this, since it's fetch, is a promise. But we can't render a promise on HTML. We can't even loop through it. Our result is held inside of that promise. How can we get that result to a global variable so it's easier to work with? Okay. For this one, really think about it. And it's actually a lot more simple than you may think, but it's going to take a while. Okay. All right, give it a shot. And in the next video, I will go over the results step by step and show you the solution. Okay. Welcome back. Hopefully that wasn't too hard for you guys. The bonus is a little tricky, but I'll walk you through every single step right now, okay? So first thing, create an async function. Easy enough. Async function. I'm going to call this get user posts. What is it going to take in? User ID. Let's do capital I and D so it looks better. Okay, inside, what are we going to do? We're going to fetch, right? Fetch. What are we fetching? We're fetching this link right here. Now, fetch is async, returns a promise, so we must await it. Okay, and I'm going to put this in a variable const. Fetch result is equal to that. Now, instead of doing more awaits, I'm just going to do a .then right here. Then we get a response body back. We're going to do res.json to convert it to an array. Okay. And then, whoops, this should be right here. And then we're going to see our data, console.log data. And then I'm going to call this get user post. Let's just call 1 right now. All right, so right now it has an array of all of the posts, but we only want the post from user ID number 1. All right, so here's how we can do that. Instead of data, let's call this array of posts. Okay. And then curly braces. Okay. So array of posts, type this wrong, is this whole thing. We want to loop through it. You can use map, you can use reduce, but the best one is filter. Okay. If you forgot what filter is, please watch the filter review video. So filter, we're going to do array of posts dot filter. Inside filter, we get access to each of these posts. So I will call it post. Now, remember, we want an array of the results, right? Because each of these posts is an object. How do we put it into an array? Well, let's have our temporary value right here. So we can do const array holder is equal to an empty array. And then also, I'm going to do const post count is equal to 1. Right? Actually, we have to change this to let because I'm going to reassign it later. All right, so now this will take care of the post number. We're going to increase it. And we're going to push the result into this array holder here. Okay. All right, so we get, in filter, we get access to post. And then I'm going to do the curly braces. And then if the post dot, let's check. If the post dot user ID is equal to our user capital ID, then what? We're going to do array holder dot push. And then what are we pushing in? Well, we're going to push in an object, right? Because our result wants an object. Object with post number is going to be equal to post count, right? And then content is going to be equal to what? Well, content is going to be equal to post.body right here. So post.body, okay? And then we're going to return our array holder after everything else, okay? So return array holder, okay? And let me console.log that too. Console.log array holder. Save. Now let's check. Cool, right? We have an array of objects, but only from user 1. Let's change this to user 2. Open it up. Yep, this is my user 2. Let's try 3. Okay, you know what? Instead of having to check this, right? We can just add on to see if we got the right user. So I'm going to put selected user ID. And what is this going to equal to? Well, it's going to equal to the user ID of the post. All right. Now, if we open it up and we open this up, right? It says, here's the content. Here's his first post. And here's the ID that you selected. Okay. Isn't that cool? So we went from an array of 100 to 10 with just a few lines of code. All right. So we have our result right now. But if you notice, this is a promise, right? If I do const test is equal to this result, and then we loop it because we want to try to render it on our HTML, right? For let value of test console.log test. What happens? Test is not iterable because a promise is not iterable, right? This array is wrapped inside of a promise. How do we get rid of that? Well, if you notice, I created let result equals null up here. Why is that? Well, because this is going to become something else later, right? A lot of people just do let result, but I like using equals null to let other people know that, hey, if you see null, that means it's going to become something else later. Okay, let me take away this console.log. Okay, so now we're going to call get user post. Let's do 3. This returns what? A promise, right? That means we can do that. Then we get the data back. Our data is this whole thing right here. And then we're going to set our result to that. Okay, so we're going to do result is equal to data. And then we're going to console.log result. Okay, right here. Now, if you type in result, this is a global variable, but it's no longer, right? It's no longer a promise. It's now an actual array, right? And that means we can loop through it here. So for const value of result, console.log result, right? We see all of them displayed. Cool, huh? All right, I hope that challenge wasn't too hard. Let's move on.